Well, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it is me, Alejandro Tornato, and I want to be the first one to welcome you to another episode or a moment of coffee, ideas, and connecting with me, Alejandro. And as always, I cannot be here sharing some content with you if I do not have a good cup of coffee with me. It wouldn't be the same thing if we didn't have coffees. So we have to have three elements: coffee, some ideas that I would like to share with you, and we are indeed connecting. Now, you might be wondering, hey, today is Sunday. So, uh, are you on? Are you not on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m.? And the answer is yes. You are absolutely right. If you were asking that question, I should have been with you yesterday, but I was not able to do that. And I didn't want to let a week go by without sharing and without connecting with you. So instead of yesterday, then I am sharing and connecting and having a great time with all of you, whether you are live, listening to me live right now, or whether you get the recording after today. I am equally blessed by your support. I am privileged to be doing this. Um, it's um, it's uh, it's a growing experience every time that I do it, and it's a great feeling. To be connecting with all of you. So for the past a couple of sessions, I started a sort of a mini series sharing with you some lessons or some ideas from a book that I have. Is called Make Your Bed, and the book was written by a SEAL officer, a Navy SEAL officer, an Admiral William McRaven, and he gave the commencement speech for, I believe, the University of Austin in Texas, and it was a great success. And so, uh, uh, from that commencement speech, then this book was born. Um, and one of the things that this is not what I want to share with you today, but as I'm saying this to you, it just came into my awareness. One thing that I heard so many times, not just once, but so many times, uh, mentioned by Paul Martinelli, the president of the John Maxwell team, and a good mentor, um, a good teacher of human potential and mindset. And he said that anything, if whatever you are, if you look around, if you just turn 360 degrees and you look at things, for instance, you can see over there a lamp, you can see pictures, you can see anything, a door, anything that you see, uh, it's been created twice. It's been created first in the mind of a person, and from that thought, it became a reality. And so, the book that I am going to read a paragraph today, and we are going to discuss it a little bit. Um, It's the result that Admiral McRaven had a thought that he wanted to share at that commencement speech, and he did that. And then from that, then the book was birthed. Perhaps it was a desire of him to bring about that book because he thought that the lessons, that the content that he wanted to share was worthy to be put in written form in a book for millions of people to be able to benefit from that, from those lessons and from that content. So I just wanted to mention that. I mean, that it just came into that awareness that things are created twice. First, in the mind of a person, and secondly, into the physical form of that thought. But today, what I wanted is we are on chapter 3, okay? And it says here, if you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart. Measure a person by the size of their heart. And I wanted to read a little brief paragraph of the book. This is when Admiral McRaven was in SEAL training of the coast of I guess San Clemente, or in California, and they were getting ready for a long swim. And this is his story here. It says, after inspecting the student's life jacket, the instructor looked over his left shoulder toward the pounding surf and then reached down and grabbed the student's flippers. Holding them close to the young sailor's face, he said quietly, "Do you really want to be a frogman?" The sailor stood up straight with a look of defiance in his eyes. "Yes, instructor, I do," he shouted. "You are a tiny little man," the instructor said, waving the flippers in his face. "Those waves out there could break you in half." He paused and glanced toward the ocean. "You should think about quitting now before you get hurt." Even out of the corner of my eye, I could see the student's jaw begin to tighten. "I won't quit," the sailor replied, drawing out each word. Then the instructor leaned in and whispered something in the student's ear. I couldn't make out the words over the breaking waves. After all the trainees were inspected, the instructors ordered us into the water, and we began our swim. An hour later, I crawled out of the surf zone, and standing on the beach was the young seaman recruit. He had finished the swim near the head of the class. Later that day, I pulled him aside and asked what the instructor had whispered to him in his ear. He smiled and said proudly, "Prove me wrong." It says, SEAL training was always about proving something, proving that size didn't matter, proving that the color of your skin wasn't important, proving that money didn't make you better, proving that determination and grit were always more important than talent. And I'm going to stop right there. And I think that we can learn so many good things about this passage, because that tiny little man, tiny little soldier, aspiring to become a SEAL officer, a Navy SEAL officer, didn't know that he had the potential to do and to accomplish what the instructor thought that it was going to be something impossible. That the waves were too aggressive and too harsh and too big for this little man, to sustain that swim. That the waves were going to break him in half. That he wouldn't be able to complete the swim. That he was going to be a failure. And so the instructor leaned in and said, "Prove me wrong." Because the sailor was determined. He says, "I will not quit." Oh, you will not quit, huh? Then prove me wrong. Let's see what is the real size of your heart. Is your heart big enough to determine that you will conquer the odds that are against you to complete this swim? And after I read that passage, I don't know about you, but I thought about my journey in life. Am I doing the very best that I can possibly do? Am I achieving the things that I really want to achieve? Am I on the right pathway? What is the size of my heart? And as a John Maxwell team speaker, coach, and trainer, and if you are, you can relate to me. If you joined the John Maxwell team, to build the business, to be able to add value to other people, to be an agent of change in the life of other people, to be a transformational agent. Sometimes things are not going to be rosy. Sometimes we are going to find those waves that can break us in half. We are going to find things that are going to that they have the potential to stop us right there. And what are we going to do about it? Are we going to be like this little tiny soldier that confronted with those big obstacles, those big waves? It says, "I will not quit." No matter what. No matter what the circumstances are going to be. No matter whether you called 100 people and nobody wanted to come to the event that you were organizing. Or perhaps you called 100 or 200 or 500 and only 10 showed up. Are you going to let that outcome detract you from keeping on and staying on that pathway? And perhaps evaluating what happened and getting even better at it, so people can trust you more and they can see the value that you provide, and they will be able to join you in that ride. And so as I read this, and as I read what happens, when we have a heart that is not going to quit, that is not going to be distracted, is not going to give up, but is going to persevere. Listen again what it says. Determination and grit were always more important than talent. You may have great talent, or you may not have enough talent. But talent alone is not going to make the difference. Talent alone is not going to either make you or break you, but it is the determination and the grit to keep pushing forward, to keep moving you in the direction of your goal, to keep moving you forward in the direction of your dream, no matter what's in the way. That is going to make the difference. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you today, is the fact that as Les Brown normally ends his presentations, his talks, he says, remember one thing: there is greatness within you. And I know there is greatness within all of us. Is whether we have the courage and the determination to let that greatness bubble over and be an element of contagion to other people. Let your greatness be of contagion to others, and your life will never be the same. My life will never be the same. I'm so glad that I am on the pathway that I am, that I want to add value to other people, that I want to make a difference in other people's lives, because someone talked to me and that person made a difference in my life. I want to continue making a difference in other people's lives. This is what significance is all about. It's not about me, it's not about you, but it is about what we can do in the lives of others. How we can be vehicles of change in the lives of thousands of other people. Let your greatness show. So until we meet again, thank you for listening and thank you for your support. I would appreciate, if you leave me some comments and some feedback. I really appreciate that. We can all learn and benefit from your feedback and from your comments. Um, Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. And remember, as I said to you all the time, remember to be kind, to be passionate, to be well.